Hello, I'm Captain Brian Noyes. This is part of a series of informational videos on the recently negotiated UPA extension LOA. All the videos in this series will be available to the pilot group on the UPA Extension Letter of Agreement website at www.extensionloa.org, as well as on the MEC's new dedicated Extension LOA Facebook page. This video will cover one of the major items negotiated in this LOA, the replacement for MOU 22, which governed the automatic look-back add pay for flight duty period extensions and UPA duty waivers in Section 5F1H. There were also changes to MOU 16 regarding fatigue FSAP report requirements. In this extension LOA, improvements were made to the methodology for automatically awarding and tracking add pay for extensions. Changes shown on this chart include the following. 2.5 hours of add pay is now triggered at the first minute of an extension, and 5 hours of add pay is triggered at minute 31. And the requirement to file a fatigue FSAP for extensions of less than 30 minutes has been removed. It's important to note that for FRMS routes, the add pay calculation will be based on the Table C limit, not the FRMS limit, and may trigger even when an FDP extension is not required. To help clarify pay issues, each crew member will receive a written receipt within 72 hours of the flight, verifying their add pay. It is important to remember, a pilot can always refuse to extend a flight duty period or call fatigued if unable to continue. This slide details the changes we negotiated to Memorandum of Understanding 16, dealing with, among other things, how fatigue events are evaluated and paid. Under the current UPA language, if a pilot declares they are unable to extend a flight duty period for 30 minutes or less, they must file a fatigue FSAP. The refusal to extend is coded as a fatigue event and reviewed by the Fatigue Review Committee to determine if it is an operational, non-operational, or self-induced fatigue event. Only those events determined to be operational are pay protected. Non-operational fatigue is paid out of the pilot's sick bank. Self-induced fatigue events are not pay protected at all. If a pilot declares himself unable to extend an FDP for 31 minutes or greater, no fatigue FSAP is required, and it is instead coded as a fit-for-duty event, and the pilot is pay protected. The extension LOA language changes MOU 16 so that any time a pilot declares unable to extend, it will be coded as a fit-for-duty event, and the pilot is automatically pay protected like any other legality and subject to reassignment. This applies to all duty periods, including unaugmented multi-leg duty periods. The requirement to file an FSAP when refusing to extend an FDP has also been eliminated. A fatigue FSAP would only be required if the pilot terminated his duty period prior to the point where concurrence to extend is required. In that case, the Fatigue Review Committee would review the FSAP to determine pay. Although an FSAP is not required, if you elect not to extend, we highly recommend you file an FSAP if there are any operational or safety concerns that led to your decision, so that information can be captured by the Fatigue Review Committee. The offer and accept provision of UPA 5F1H is replaced by the look-back provision in the UPA extension LOA. The add pay associated with any flight duty period or UPA duty extension will be automatic in accordance with the provisions of this extension LOA. Section 5F1H will now show that the add pay is triggered at the first minute of the extension, so there is no more first 30 minutes for free. Other modifications to Section 5F1H were the elimination of LOA 30 and MOU 22 language. These defined how much add pay would be paid for an extension or waiver and what triggers were for that add pay. The UPA extension LOA clarifies that the calculation for an extension is based on the en route and taxi-in times on the last release flight plan received prior to takeoff. Also, the extension LOA protects AdPay for flight cancellations if a crew agreed to extend, but the flight later cancels, provided the flight cancellation is not attributable to the action or decision of a member of the flight crew with respect to his duty limits. This AdPay is calculated as if the time of cancellation was the time of takeoff, and does not apply when the flight is canceled or removed from the pilot's schedule prior to the scheduled departure time, since no extension would have been required yet. AdPay for contractual waivers is triggered if a UPA waiver is needed at the out time, but calculated at takeoff, the same as FAR extension AdPay. Again, a pilot can always refuse to extend a duty period if they choose to do so. This language only refers to how the pilot's pay will be treated if they elect to extend. I encourage you to review the UPA extension LOA so you can make an informed vote when ratification balloting begins in January. Please check your email for ongoing news and additional information regarding the extension LOA. Thank you for watching this video. Please send any questions you have to extensionloa@alpa.org, and please watch the other videos in this series on the Extension LOA website, www.extensionloa.org, and our new dedicated Extension LOA Facebook page.